Welcome to the slideshow for my Balkans tour that took place in 2014. Here's the basic outbound route, travelling down through the Netherlands, Germany, Austria, across Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, back into Croatia and then into Montenegro. That was the intended route anyway. First day was a simple run down from The Hague by Frankfurt. This is the hotel I stayed at. It was just off the motorway, a couple of minutes, so it was quite convenient. The second day saw me heading towards Graz in Austria. I'd booked a hotel at a sports centre a little bit out of the centre of Graz because of the cost. It turned out when I got there that this is where Arnold Schwarzenegger used to train when he was a youth, long before he became famous, when he was just doing the rounds of bodybuilding competitions. The next day I headed across Slovenia and Croatia and into Bosnia. I'd always wanted to visit Sarajevo, and this was my destination for the day. It was dark when I got there, and these were some quick photographs I snapped on the evening before settling down for the night. I just took a quick walk around the town. These are just a few views. The hotel I stayed at was right in the centre of the town. It couldn't have been more centre, right opposite the main market. The following day I took this photo of the hotel. It was run by Muslims, so it was dry, of course. This is opposite the hotel. It's the main market square. As I said, couldn't have been more centre. I walked around the town. These are just a few views that I saw. It's actually a really pretty city, now that it's not war-torn. I don't know what this building was, but it looked official. Had some really interesting decorative features. More shots of the market. The next day I'd arranged to meet Ed, an American round-the-world traveller, along with his girlfriend, in Dermitor National Park, just inside Montenegro. As a result, I didn't waste any time the next day. I rose early and got on the road. These photographs are the trip down from Bosnia through to Dermitor in Montenegro. You can see stunning scenery, lovely roads, almost no traffic at all. They have to create these roads, as you can see, they have to carve through rocks and across gorges. As you will just see there, the bridge in the distance. A bit closer, I had to travel across that to continue on my route. That's from the bridge. And this one. This chap I met as I was climbing up out of one valley right across to actually go right across the national park. We both stopped to take some photographs. This is a lake or reservoir, I think it was, below us. Almost blue turquoise water. This is the climb out. And you'll see here, that's the road I came up off the main road. You can just see the tunnels, and those are the entrances below. Just there, just off the main road, there's a tunnel entrance to the road that climbs up. This is Dermitor National Park itself. I rode right across it. Beautiful. I'd arranged to meet Ed in the town of Slvalia, which is the main town on the edge of the national park. We actually met up in the evening at this restaurant and had dinner together. Neither of us had cameras with us, so there's no photographs of the event, unfortunately. The following day I headed towards Nikšić, a major town. I took a really circuitous route because the riding looks absolutely beautiful, and I wasn't disappointed. This is just a gorge bridge. I didn't actually go across it, but it looked lovely. They're actually doing bungee jumping nearby. This is the gorge I was travelling down southeast from Slvalia. Lovely and green the whole way. Cool as well, protects you nicely from the sun. I don't know the name of this town or this river, but I could look it up, I guess. I'll try and put a note in here. This restaurant, I stopped by the side of the road and just had a drink. Another town I don't know the name of, but you can tell how high up I was. When I got to Nixik, I had booked this hotel the night before. It's outside the town, overlooking it, as you will see. Stunning views. Lovely hotel. Quiet. Cold beer, of course. That's the view of the town and the surrounding valley from the hotel. And there's the cold beer. I had to have a few of those. From Nixik, I was heading towards Podgorica via Kotor Bay. Kotor Bay is one of the wonders of this trip. It's absolutely stunningly beautiful. Right, prepare yourselves. The photograph of me. Behind me is Kotor Bay, or the start of it. As you can see behind the bike, I'm quite high up, and you'll see the road I'm actually travelling down in a few moments. I took a lot of photographs in this area, so you'll have to bear with me. If you look at that hill in the background, you can just see the road sloping right to left downhill. There's a couple of islands out in the bay. I believe they're both religious connected. I'm not sure exactly what, but you can get a trip out to see them. I didn't bother. I wasn't there long enough. I wasn't going to actually stay in Kotor because it was very expensive and difficult to find accommodation. This is the centre of Kotor, and as you can see, cruise ships pull up there and lots of bike parking. Take a note of that ferry, cruise ship, you're going to see that several times. Climbing out of Kotor, you can see the sort of road it actually is. Very steep, and I've now got a series of photographs as I depart Kotor, looking back towards that very ferry. We're going to get higher soon, and when we start to climb, you'll see the difference. The ferry is still there. You can just make it out there. Bit clearer in that photograph. In the next one you can see the local airport just out on the left, the runway. I arrived at Podgorica that same day. It seems to be very popular with Transformer fans for some unknown reason. The whole town is littered with transformers. Of all shapes and sizes. It's really quite remarkable. Anyway, I stayed in Podgorica at a nice hotel, then the following day crossed the border again towards Albania because I was heading towards the Theti Valley. This is a challenging approach road, as you can see, and this is the only place that it was safe to actually stop. That person in the photograph is Colombo. He owns this hotel, well, him and his wife do. It's in a state of preparedness, shall we say. It's renovation would be a better word. You'll see in a moment that there isn't even any rail across the second floor to stop yourself falling off. I was actually located on the second floor. There's the dinner his wife prepared for me. That was all cold, by the way. I left them this bottle of wine they'd given me from the hotel in Podgorica. I must admit I've taken quite a few photographs in this valley, so once again you'll have to bear with me. As you can see, as I mentioned before, no rail across the upper balcony of the hotel. It was a relatively short ride into this valley, but I was going to take the longer ride out. The long ride, in case I forget to mention it, took me over 3 hours. It was about 50 kilometres, but it was all quite technical off-road. Although it was tracks, there were certainly technical places. I came off the bike a couple of times. It's an awesome, quiet valley. There's no noise there, no light pollution, no nothing. I can really recommend it if you get a chance to go and visit. They were actually tarmacking the road in from the side I approached from. I hope they don't tarmac the route out, because that's a really nice off-road route. At this point I should mention the second part of the trip. This is from northern Albania around across Macedonia, Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary, etc., all the way back to the Netherlands. My trip the next day was to get from where I was in Theti to Basram Kuri, which is the other side of the mountains from where I was. This is the road along the valley exiting from Theti. As I said, it's quite a nice road, and I met a couple of people on it, and I even met a minibus. Apparently the local transport drive a minibus down this road. There's only one a day. There's no real timing. You just have to sit by the side of the road and wait, which can take hours. The couple of people I met were actually doing just that, sitting by the side of the road waiting for the minibus to come, which I'd actually overtaken. See this gorge here? You'll see this later on. Just to prove I was there. Riding down the valley. Right, there's that gorge. Right in the distance you can see in the centre of the photograph the road that I came along. There it is, there's the gorge. You can see how far I've climbed up. Again, some more shots of the road. Has to follow the contour of the valley side. I thoroughly enjoyed that 3 hours. This is the little restaurant at the end of the off-road part when I got back to tarmac and started to head towards Basram Kuri. These pillboxes, I guess from the war in the area in the early 90s, are stark reminders. There's the bike parked outside my hotel in Basram Kuri. The view from the hotel bedroom. The following day I'd planned to go northwest into the Valbonne Valley before heading exactly the other direction down towards Kukis on the way to the Albanian border. This is the Valbonne Valley. Just over those mountains ahead is Theti, but there's no road possible. There is a hiking track, or rather should I trake, hiking trail or scrambling trail would be more accurate, that does go over the mountains, but it's completely impassable by motorised vehicles, even an off-road bike. There might be some heroes that could do it, but I very much doubt it. Again, I took a lot of photographs in this area because the scenery was just beautiful. This is a heavily visited area, as you would imagine. I guess it could be seen as the Lake District of Albania, northern Albania anyway. This photograph was taken from the information centre where I stopped for a drink. I love mountains. Anyway, once I'd got back through the town and headed southeast, you can see the road in this picture coming round this, swinging round the valley. And I arrived at Kukis and stayed in this hotel. Very friendly place. I'm still in touch with Bled Selmy, who was one of the waiters there. Here's me on the roof. There's actually a roof bar and there's a roof spa, but it was closed while I was there, but they allowed me to go up to take some photographs. These are the spas. As I said, it was closed and they weren't working, which was a real shame. Ah, it's another photograph. That's actually out of order. That was before I got to Kukis. Just a few shots at ground level after walking around the town, or while I was walking around the town. After Kukis, I was heading across into Albania and then towards Skopje. Not into Albania, out of Albania, into Macedonia and heading to the capital, Skopje. Now, when you see these next photographs, or as you're watching them, all these statues and what have you, are all no older than 20 years. Macedonia has only really been in existence, in modern times anyway, for about 20 years, and all these statues and fountains and everything else, and the museum, and all the paintings in the museum, are all created within the 20 years before I got there. This statue in the centre is actually quite controversial, I'm told. I don't know why, but it's controversial. Has quite an interesting market in Skopje, and you'll see later on there's also a huge statue, I think it's an angel, overlooking the town. I did go up there, but as is my norm, it was cloud infested when I got there, so I couldn't really see anything, but you'll see for yourself shortly. There is a cable way to get up. My hotel in Skopje was outside the town, so it was about a 20-minute walk to get in. I could walk then. Now in the next photograph, look at these images. You see the people on the edge of the bridge there, except they're not. Those are statues, both of them. They're just there like that permanently. Never seen that before. I think that was a restaurant. I didn't go to it. I walked across this bridge from the newer part of town into the older part of the town, because I wanted to go and see both the castle, which is in the older part of the town, and walk around the market. We are getting there, I promise you. Maybe I should have cut some of these photos out from the show. I'll remind you, none of these existed 20 years prior to these photographs being taken. Apparently there is a huge school in Moscow, or institution in Moscow, that create these huge works of art. This is the older part of the town and the market square, and you did see a flashing image of the castle. You'll see more of that shortly. That's looking down over the market. It wasn't a dry day. Just some of the wares there. I suppose it's similar to any market anywhere. Now we're getting on towards the castle. I had to walk around it to get up there. So actually, I walked around the outside of it. I walked all the way around it, in fact, because I didn't go back the same way. That's looking over the town from the castle, inside the castle. There wasn't a lot there to see. It was really just the ruins. There was at least I didn't see any sort of museum. Here we are. This is the cableway up to the hill above where I was staying. It's a little bit similar when I went to Kazakhstan and above Almaty, but different. That's what was waiting for me, and I wasn't disappointed. There's the angel, completely shrouded in mist. Now we're getting to the museum. I wasn't allowed to take photographs inside the museum proper. This was just the entrance hall. What you're going to see in a moment is actually the original constitution of Macedonia. There isn't a copy. This is the original one, and it's in the museum. These are just a few night photographs that I took. You can see the controversial statue there of the horse, and in its different colours, changes colour. Anyway, after leaving Skopje, I headed towards Motor Camp in Bulgaria. I'd heard of it and never been there before. This is a close-up view of where you turn off to get to it. No real photographs from that day. It was not a dry day. So this is the camp itself when I got there. My room was the top balcony there on the right-hand side. It wasn't very busy, so, I got a room to myself. This BMW in the foreground had been ridden round the world. And we all went out for a meal that night. If you notice the person on the right here that's swigging on a beer, that's Ian Buchanan. This is where and when I actually met him. We've stayed friends ever since. I stayed there a couple of days, but it was wet all the whole time, so I headed out eventually towards Rus on the Bulgarian-Romanian border. Nice hotel there, as you will see in a moment. Nice view too. Very, I don't know what you call it, boutique hotel perhaps. They allowed me to park my bike right outside the main entrance. This was the food I had. It was absolutely beautiful. I really enjoyed that meat. It was so tender. Anyway, after Rus, I crossed the border into Romania and headed up towards Sibiu. I was going via the Transfiguroan route. I'd heard so much about it online with the Top Gear guys that I wanted to ride it myself. This is actually a lake at the start of the route with a dam. These pictures are of that area, the dam and looking down off the dam. It's quite a climb just to get up this far. There it is, looking down to the service hatch at the base of the dam. And this is basically after I'd gone round the lake and had continued on the Transfiguroan. To be honest with you, although I was there at a weekend, so it was busier than normal, I wasn't impressed. I got to Sibiu, found a hotel. It's quite nice. There was some sort of wedding going on while I was there. These are some of the wedding guests. I just sat outside and had a few beers. There was actually some sort of protected compound nearby. It looked like a junkyard, but I've no idea what it was, but they were certainly serious about security. Anyway, from there I headed up towards Brno, right across Hungary, Slovakia, and into Czech Republic. No photos of the trip, and I stayed a bit outside Brno because, again, of the expense, and I found this nice hotel. Some of the racing teams from Brno circuit that you're looking at now were staying there as well during some either practice or a track day, which was taking place when I went there. I actually tried to blag my way into the circuit, but I wasn't successful. So I just had to sit on the outside, and there was some sort of view there. They didn't seem to mind me being there, just couldn't get inside. There you go. Sorry, I should have warned you. Right, from Brno, I headed up towards Chemnitz, around Prague. I didn't actually stay, I don't think, long there. And then I moved on again towards Bad Lauterberg, where I'd arranged to meet up with a friend. And we went and had some food at Kim's Diner, which we were recommended as it was run by Wolf Link Frohen. And he'd done it in an Airstream, and it had an old American school bus as a wet weather seating area. There's Keith. We didn't actually eat in there, we were just sitting there. That's Wolf, who owns everything there, talking to Ian, or even Keith, can't even get his name right, and taking his time looking at the menu. As you can see, you get a very nice meal there. It's why we went. There's me with the Airstream caravan in the background. And all I did was go for the biggest burger I could find and look at it. It was absolutely huge. You didn't need seconds. Anyway, we spent a bit of time riding around in that area and then joined together and rode back towards the Netherlands. And we've pretty much got to the end of the trip this time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.